Welcome back to the Midday Mumbles Podcast, episode 33.
Something or other.
I'm Gage.
I'm Isaac.
And I'm Brody.
And this is episode 33 of the Midday Mumbles Podcast. But before we get into it, don't forget, now a word from our sponsor.
Don't forget that there's a word from our sponsor.
Hey, I'm Gage from the Midday Mumbles Podcast. I strongly believe if you want to start a podcast today for free, you need Anchor.fm. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. And the best part is, it's completely free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer anytime. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you, so it can be heard across all the major platforms: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more epic platforms available for free. Download the free Anchor app or go to Anchor.fm to get started today for free. Again, that's Anchor.fm. One more time, that's ANCHOR.fm. I can't wait to see what you create. And we're back. How's everyone doing this week? How you doing, Isaac and Brody?
Dandy. Like, legitimately pretty dandy.
Dandy. I thought it was going to rain today. It's actually nice out for a change. Yeah,
that would not be pleasant because we're having a little Midday Mumbles barbecue after this. None of you are invited. You know why? Because we never reached our Patreon. We would have had that Midday Mumbles pizza party episodes and episodes ago, okay? But we never got the Patreon support, so none of you were invited. Suck it up.
What was the amount for the? What was our Patreon goal? For
I think it was like
party?
$100 a month. It was pretty unreasonable.
How is that unreasonable? Okay, whatever.
I don't know. Well, yeah, but we're trying to Patreon suck money out of.
You're gonna say that years from now. You're gonna be like, we should have had the pizza party years ago.
We haven't earned a cent from Patreon. Okay, so how you doing, Marty? How you doing?
Oh, I can concur with Isaac. This has probably been the first week in a while where I have felt pretty dandy.
I'm feeling dandy too. How is that cop still there, Brody?
No.
He's gonna bust you guys.
Brody feels paranoid. There's a cop, or there was a cop parked across the street from the office.
Illegal podcast production. Gotta break in.
You got a license for that podcast.
It's all them cigars. It's all them cigars. You know, he's gonna come in. He's gonna be like, "I want a cigar. I'm taking these,
confiscating these.
They're my cigars now."
You shouldn't be smoking cigars. You bad person, Gage. It's unhealthy. You're gonna become a cigar fiend.
He's gonna become an anti-cigar activist.
He is? Who, me or Gage?
You've got to become one. Gage has to become one.
How is Gage gonna become one? He's getting addicted to them.
He's gonna turn. His life is gonna turn around.
Oh, because I smoke a cigar every few weeks, I'm like, it's bad. That's terrible.
Your life is falling apart, Gage.
One day, one of those is gonna put you in the hospital.
Gage, our week has been dandy because we're not sitting there smoking cigars.
I think we got to catch up though, because last week we interviewed Eric Gullickson, and we didn't give Isaac any attention. Isaac graduated from high school.
Well, yeah. I did the thing that almost literally every American citizen will do at some point.
He said that.
Whoa. Hopefully.
Last week we were recording. Last week we were recording. We had Eric on the line, and he's like, "I graduated. I just learned how to drive. I graduated from high school." I'm thinking, this guy probably thinks we're little kids. Like,
we kind of are. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, we really pretty much are.
Yeah. But you're
honestly, I don't consider myself an adult yet, really. I mean, I'm 18.
I consider myself an adult.
Yeah, you ain't an adult till you own your own house and you're married.
But
yeah.
Well, okay. But you said, "Oh, I graduated this week," and I'm like, "Okay, let's shoo this along. Let's go. We don't care, Isaac. Shut up."
Yeah, this is about Eric. This isn't about Isaac.
Are you happy that you graduated?
Let's move along, guys. What?
Do you feel good that you graduated? That you're no longer a part of the system?
No.
More like he's.
No, why would I?
No.
It's like the easiest part of my life has come to an end. And I'm a lazy person. I enjoy easy life.
Just wait until your first day of college. There's going to be no more gaming. You're done. You're going to be You're going to be put into this you're going to turn into this like NPC robot right? That just doesn't have feelings. You're going to be like, I must pay taxes now.
Gage, you're going to come knock on the dorm room door, and I'm going to go answer it and like stand there like a Skyrim NPC and be like, I don't know what Skyrim NPCs say, but
yeah, you're going to talk to Isaac, and within 5 minutes, he's not going to have any more lines to say left.
So how are those sports going? Isaac's grown up now. He's going to have to start talking about baseball or football or something. And
oh, no, never.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah. So, hey, moving into our first topic, have you guys heard about the 196th country that was recently added to the world?
No, I haven't. Please tell us about it.
So CHAZ, Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone, is the newest entry in the countries list in the world. Well, just kidding. It's a quote unquote country. Protesters decided to form their own country named CHAZ in Seattle, Washington. What the hell is going on with this world?
CHAZ is, of course, named after the area. The Capitol Hill. Capitol Hill, I don't know if Capitol Hill is a street.
So currently they've seized about 4 blocks of American soil. And they're currently creating their own country. They have their own police force. They have a warlord who 2 weeks ago was a rapper.
His official title isn't warlord. If you asked him, he probably wouldn't call himself that.
I am a warlord.
He calls himself.
I'm going after the United States government.
He calls himself the police chief, but whatever. They're all armed with automatic weapons.
Chief?
Yeah,
he calls himself the police chief.
Yeah, on Tucker Carlson, it was like, what the hell? I thought they abolished
the police. Wouldn't he just be called the people the over officers. Other people person?
Yeah. The dude.
The new, yeah.
You know what? You know what they should do? You know what they should do? We should either A, go in there and just take back the land because it's like the United States' land, or B, we should take like all of the border patrol and just surround their little 4 blocks in border patrol.
we need the National Guard. We need the military involved. Trump actually tweeted, I don't know what they're doing behind the scenes, obviously, but Trump had tweeted the governor and said, take control. And she tweeted him back, we're doing what we want. Go back to your bunker or whatever. And it's like, how rude.
Trump can literally step in at this point, though. He can literally send the military there because it's literally a national threat.
And okay, not to add to CHAZ because there's so much that's happened this week, but they're taking down statues and everything else, which is just friggin' crazy. This is getting out of control, right? We are gonna have a civil war if we don't get control of these people.
Yeah, no, it is ridiculous.
I don't want to go to war. Like, I don't want us to go to war.
Does anyone? Do you guys know the ideologies of CHAZ? Because like, I don't really know a whole lot about it.
No.
So like, I know what it is.
First of all, it's hard to get information from the news.
Well, sure, that's true.
The only one reporting on it's Fox.
I watched the news and they made it look like it was some sort of like Comic-Con or something. Like it looked very like, oh, it's just kind of like people walking through. Like it was just like it looked like a people zone on the news, like literally just filled with people to the brim, just walking.
But I heard last night on Tucker Carlson that they aren't letting people out that were in there. So like they are not allowing people to leave their new country, their new formed country. What happens when they start seizing more land?
I did hear that they were trying to do something like that.
We don't need a new country inside of our own country. Like how since when is it legal to seize land? Isaac, I'm going to go up to your house and seize your property, and that's the new country of Gage.
Okay, sorry. I was away for the second. I had to yell at my cat because she was on the
I heard special guest cat.
Yeah.
But no, this is friggin' crazy shit. CHAZ is honestly like it's the start of a revolution. What's going to happen is they're going to start pushing, and we're going to start pushing back. If the country grows some balls, right? There's going to be a civil war. It's going to happen. It's happening all over the world. You have these people in Europe, also Canada. They're protesting this whole cop situation, and it's getting very hostile. There's going to be a war breakout in the U.S. I mean, there could be another huge war like worldwide with these people pushing back. It's not just in America; it's all over. Because police officers are quote unquote bad.
Right. Well, I mean,
doesn't make any sense.
I mean, a lot of them are. Don't get me wrong. A lot of people are bad in general.
Yeah, but
police officer is a position that has power, and bad people like power. So of course they're going to accumulate there if that's what they want. But that doesn't mean they're inherently bad, and that doesn't mean it's a problem with the system. There's no jurisdiction that says go and. If it's a black person you're seeing on the side of the street, go bust them for drugs because they're black. There's no legislation that tells them that. I mean, there was what was it? Stop and frisk, and that was pretty not great. But stop and frisk isn't relevant now because they got rid of it, and currently I don't know of any legislation that could be race related. And then anything that isn't legislation is people related, and people you can't really stop from being racist if they are. You could remove them from their position if they are, and I think we should. But
yeah, until you find them, you can't really do anything about racist individuals.
Right.
Okay, so you guys are going on, about all that, but let's be honest. You're talking about cops, and there are a lot of bad cops. Sure, there are bad people. There are bad people that are in power, et cetera, et cetera. But you got to remember, a lot of these cops, they're risking their lives on a daily basis. And,
especially the ones in these cities that the riots are going on in.
But
stuff.
There are a lot of good cops. So we can't just sit here. I'm not going to let you just say on the podcast, like, there are a lot of bad cops, because there are a lot of bad people, and you're going to have that with anything. There's 7 billion people on this planet. There's 300 and however many million people in this country alone. There's going to be some bad people. But that doesn't mean that we're going to go and attack every single person who has a badge because of one incident.
It doesn't. It doesn't matter if you completely topple the current police system and then reinstate a new one and then put people in it. If you put people in it, the same problems are going to exist.
It's going to constantly happen. That's human nature. A lot of people like control, and a lot of people that like control like to, get into powerful positions such as the government, police officers, et cetera, et cetera. There are a lot of good people, though, and there are a lot of good cops.
There's a lot of very good cops. There are a lot of cops that are police officers just because they're genuinely trying to help.
But it's not fair. It's not fair to police officers that they are doing their job to serve and protect the citizens of this country, and because of one bad supposed guy, every person in this country has to lose respect for these cops because they risk their lives doing what they do, and it's just not fair to them that they go out nowadays, and it's 10 times more dangerous for them, especially in cities. People are crazy. These protesters are crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know. The biggest thing that I kind of freak out about this whole situation is that the mayor of Seattle doesn't actually it doesn't seem like she wants to do anything about it. That kind of freaks me out.
Yeah.
Because they don't care.
Like, she hasn't made any public statement talking about this in a way that's like, oh, it's inherently bad.
Right, no, anyone that's inciting violence and creating dysfunction and damage should be immediately addressed.
Labeled as inherently bad.
and labeled as bad. It should be something that is known as a crisis and as a problem. And these
people don't want to
governors
acknowledge this. People don't want to acknowledge this. Even Democrats don't want to acknowledge this. The Democrats don't want to acknowledge this because they were saying, and this is actually kind of funny. This was something no mainstream media is talking about this right now. Fox is the only one. But it's very brief.
From what I see, it's small scale, even for how big of an event it is.
So on Tucker Carlson, I don't want to make all of my opinions based on from Tucker Carlson because it's not. I've done a lot of research.
He's also just one of the few people that actually report on this sort of stuff. Right. So it's kind of our hands are tied.
He played a clip from the impeachment hearings of the Democrats saying no one is above the law, and these people are literally acting above the law. And the Democrats don't want to acknowledge it because they know that this is going to prove hypocrisy within the Democrat Party. You know, it's going to make them all look bad because these are people that they stuck up for years and years and years. And now it's a matter of, you know, you have these people protesting now to the point where they're seizing American land. That's the biggest thing that gets me. They're literally seizing American land. So that means we have our own foreign country on our own soil. Yeah, you know what I mean?
It's not officially a foreign country.
But if they build a military, it could be. You know, I'm not saying that they're going to withstand.
I don't even know what makes them an official foreign country.
They're not going to get recognized as a country by actual countries. What it takes to be a country is to be recognized as a country.
What if they start massacring people? What if they go out and start killing people? Well, hey,
if not by our government, then by us.
If our government is too afraid to act now, you think they're going to be afraid to act now when people start dying? I mean, you think they're not going to be afraid? They're going to be afraid. They don't want to be considered racist. That's what this whole thing is. Our country is fucked.
It could be so. I mean, it could be so bad that we're on the cusp of a party war.
Yeah. That's what we're going to have, a civil war regardless. That's what's going to happen. I mean, if this starts growing, it's going to happen. You know, people aren't going to want to put up with us.
I think
I don't want it to happen.
Pushing the idea certainly makes it.
Sure.
What are we going to do? Are we just going to allow these people to do what they want without consequence? Without repercussions?
That's the problem.
These people need to know that they're wrong and that they are breaking the law that was set by the American people, right? We don't want this to happen. I want to live in a safe country.
Well, here's the problem. If they arrest these people, the news media and these people are going to start yelling. They're going to start freaking out about that. They're going to say it's because they were black. It's going to say no. It's because they're breaking laws.
That's why. That's why it's hard to do stuff because people aren't getting 100% of the facts. You go on Twitter every night and it's liberal rhetoric. It's like, you know, oh, this cop is bad and this happened and the protest. It's like, listen, you guys aren't good. This is not good. I believe in protesting 100%. It's a part of our democracy, but this is taking it way too far.
I mean, I will say it's not like people listen to protesting though. When have you ever seen people peacefully marching around and actually listened for any more than a split second or even considered it? Protesting really doesn't work. If you protest with your actions, like if you choose to stop buying from a certain service and that will hurt their business, that works. That works sometimes, but most people aren't willing to do that.
Boycotting works, but people realize
and then protesting
that
against the government. I mean, I guess then it's up to who you elect. It's not, and you have to sell people over to electing people, but no one listens to protests. They're annoying. They're. So, I mean, in that sense, I think it is. I understand the reason why it's gotten like this, but it's not acceptable for it to have gotten like this.
So let's talk about these riots a little more in depth. So people are rioting, right? And they are doing stupid things. So something that they've been doing a lot of this week is tearing down statues of people in history that are supposedly racist. So I think one of the biggest examples of this whole thing recently was in they want to take down some Washington stuff. They want to graffiti it. they are graffitiing it, and the cops don't want it. The cops aren't doing anything about it. They're watching it happen.
I noticed that.
This whole statue drama thing is really retarded to me. They want to take down U.S. statues. It's all over the world. One most notable thing was they took down, and this doesn't really revolve around us, but I saw this was trending on Twitter. Protesters over in the UK took down the Winston Churchill monument. They literally just tore it down. They hooked up a truck to it. Yeah, they took that down.
Winston Churchill.
Yeah, because he's supposedly racist, right?
He's like one of the iconic, like, best world leaders. Like,
yeah, they took his statue down. They graffitied it and then they tore it down. In the U.S., it's getting very heavy in Washington. They're taking down in Boston, I believe they took down a few statues. I saw on Twitter. I don't know which ones they are exactly. I saw the CBS World News. They're getting graffitied. If there's any like founding father statues, they're getting graffitied. It's terrible what's going on.
Yeah,
and the cops won't stop it.
And it's not safe either. Like, I heard a news story where protesters were taking down a statue, and it tore a part of the guy's skull off, and he's in a coma now, even though he was a protester. It's because they just kind of get. I saw the video too. It was just like a group of them jumped on the statue, and they were just kind of going crazy on it. It's crazy.
But this is the property of the national government, okay? This is not appropriate behavior. You know what?
Right.
We should not be taking down statues of people.
Well, I think taking down statues is okay, but it should be done in a democratic way. Right. Have it be through the city. You take down the statue, preserve the statue, put it in a museum or something. But I mean, this could be done in a safer way.
I totally disagree with you, Brody. I don't think we should be taking down statues whatsoever.
Well, I really don't think we should be taking down statues. But if you want to take them down, preserve them in a separate way. Lock them away somewhere where it's like,
it's history.
Okay, we can preserve it for the historical reason, right?
Yeah, I agree with the history part. It's history. I don't want this stuff destroyed.
Well, look, I mean, okay. If you went to like your city or your state government and you went and you voted on, should we keep the statue, and the majority of people don't want that statue, then it should come down. But things should be based off of majorities. Things should be based off of statistics. Things should be based off of like reasonable things, and they should be handled in reasonable manners. If you're upset because what you want isn't happening, that doesn't give you a pass to go and aggressively rip it down.
Exactly.
Accept the way things should be. Accept fairness. These people aren't wanting fairness. They're wanting what they want.
Yeah, if they don't get what they want immediately, then they're gonna protest, they're gonna riot, they're gonna kill, and they're gonna take blood. That's what they want. They're dangerous people. And this whole riot stuff, it's terrible. It's honest to God. It's very scary to see where we're headed in the future. I'm glad we live in rural Maine. We're not really affected by it, but there's protests in Bangor. There's protests in Portland. Waterville, I think I heard some.
So far, it hasn't been like violently dangerous, but I think in a major way, ideologically dangerous.
Yeah.
Like to encourage more people to think this way would be terrible. Well, I don't think there's been enough violence in all this to say it's a tragedy or something.
These people want the cops dead. These people who have dangerous weapons. Let me remind you, these are the same people who don't like guns, but yet they're using guns to get their own way.
Yeah.
Right, but there hasn't been like a major like death toll from this or anything.
No, not yet.
No, not yet at all.
And hopefully it doesn't get there.
But
whenever you have people like this acting violently towards, the government or people, the citizens of the country, that's when it's like, we got to stop.
I mean, okay, look, and this is to anyone listening, no matter where you are. It's not been that long since we had serious racism in this country, where we had separate water fountains. We still have people alive in this country that were around back then. It's going to take time for those sorts of ideas to work themselves out. Reasonable people should not agree with racism. But there are unfortunately still people that are alive from those days that are unreasonable and want those sorts of things. And it sucks, but it's going to take time. And no matter what you do, that's never going to change.
But I think the definition of what people consider racism is very huge right now. I mean, literally anyone could be considered racist for anything they say.
Right.
It's kind of difficult to use your words and talk, because if you say something that they disagree with, they're going to call you anything in the book a racism. You know, if you disagree with their ideologies, they're going to call you whatever, you know, a bigot, you know, whatever. So it's what is racism? We need to, like, I guess, get a set definition, because I feel like racism is just whenever someone doesn't like someone, or I don't know.
That's how they use it.
Yeah, but that's not
how you disagree with me, you
use it.
Racist. You fascist.
Well, like, racism
you white
is when
supremacist Nazi.
Racism is when you dislike the opposing color. And let's be honest, there are a lot of African Americans racist towards white people as well. There is racism in all, like, white people aren't the only racists in the world, right? Every race, if the definition of racism is someone who thinks that their race is inferior to another race, and
you know, superior,
whatever. Yeah. And you want to see the other race come down and not be allowed anywhere. But everyone is like that, right? Some white people think that to other races, Hispanics think that to us, you know, black people think that to us, et cetera, et cetera.
I would go as far to say as these protesters are racist, because they want to see white people kneeling on the ground before them. They want to see them apologizing for their privilege that they have no play in deciding. They've no reason to be kneeling in front of them, and yet they want that. That's racist. That's not fair, and that's basing your opinion on someone off of their race, which is ridiculous.
Exactly.
It is pretty strange.
I'm all for equality. You know, I don't think that white people are better than black people. I don't think black people are better than white people. If equality is equal, everyone is equal. I am okay with that. I don't disagree or oppose equality. I feel like it's important. I enjoy talking. I enjoy learning about cultures, and I enjoy talking to people from different areas of the world or different areas of the country. And I find it intriguing. I don't care if that's a black person or a white person. It's all the same. And what the word I'm getting at with this is, it doesn't make sense that you were acting like this. These people are acting like animals. And what really gets me the most is that most of the protesters are white. You know what I mean? Like, they're protesting their themselves. I mean, it doesn't make any sense.
I think a lot of the white protesters there are the ones causing problems and, like, doing the rioting too.
Yeah.
Right.
So that might be some of the reason why they're there. They're there for the excitement of it, but
actually, something that I completely forgot while we were talking about what we were going to speak of. So there's a sport that I watch, NASCAR, and they've been making headlines recently because they banned the Confederate flag during sporting events. And about 3 race car drivers decided that they're going to sit out next year's season because of this change.
That's kind of ridiculous.
Them sitting out, or the Confederate flag?
Them sitting out. That's silly.
But I mean, okay, let's talk about the Confederate flag for a second. So I think I don't know. I believe that any flag should be like, you know what I mean? I don't understand why flags, you know what I mean? Like, what's wrong with the Confederate flag?
Because it is directly, if you walk around, you know, with a Confederate flag on your shirt or draped on your car or whatever, you are showing that. I mean, a lot of it's also used as like a rebel sign. And a lot of people are like, yeah, rebellion. And then they use it because they think it's cool. And that's totally different than some people.
The Dukes of Hazzard card. Dukes of Hazzard car had the Confederate flag on it, and they're removing it now because of everything that's happened.
Right, yeah, okay. But you have
listen,
people.
It's a flag.
Right.
It doesn't matter.
But it's a part of, in that sense, it's a part of history. And it should be preserved as a part of history because history is valuable.
Why should anyone get offended? Because NASCAR is a very redneck sport.
Okay. But here's the thing. The flag is not used in a historic manner in NASCAR or in these people that wear it on their shirts. It's used as a symbol of rebellion, typically, but it's also that rebellion is stemming from a civil war that was ultimately heavily stemmed around race and about racism and about slavery. So I can understand people getting offended by that, and I can understand people getting upset by it.
But I can understand Isaac. It doesn't make any sense. Because NASCAR, it's not a government thing. It's not. They don't have to allow their race car drivers to have freedom of speech in it. They can choose. No, it's not the drivers. It's the people, the fans that go there. They're not allowing Confederate flags because people will go. Fans will bring these flags. They'll put it on their campers or whatever, and they'll sometimes fly in the stadiums. I don't see anything wrong with it. I mean, I'm not like I just said before. I'm not a racist, but because of having a flag that just defines you, it doesn't make any sense to me.
But again, it's their property. NASCAR owns that area. NASCAR can choose who goes on it.
NASCAR doesn't own the racetracks. No. NASCAR, really? There are individual owners for every racetrack. Okay. NASCAR is an entity that goes and races their cars. It's an organization that goes to every single racetrack, stock car racetrack in America. And that's what they do. They don't own the racetracks. They don't own the land. They are just saying that they don't want. They're banning Confederate flags. Is the land public though? The land is privately owned, but I think they should leave it up to the owners of the tracks. They should say, you own the New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Do you want us to allow Confederate flags or not? Oh, you own the Texas Motor Speedway. Et cetera, et cetera. That's how it should go. It shouldn't be. We as an organization are banning this flag from every, race ever. It's like, what the hell?
You guys are both right.
I believe that the NASCAR organization should go around to these tracks and say, hey, you're the owner of the New Hampshire Motor Speedway, or hey, you own Texas Motor Speedway, or hey, you own Talladega. Do you want to allow Confederate flags flown? And it's not like NASCAR flies them. It's not them. They don't fly them. Fans bring them. I don't believe that they should ban them. I think it's that's pretty petty.
Sure, but it's also NASCAR that is airing it to TV, and that's almost in a sort of way advertising it, and I think they should have a say in what they put up and what they,
I know
what
a
they
lot
choose
of people
to put
around
up.
here
It's
locally.
Private. The thing is anything private, they should have the right to say what happens there because it's owned by people.
But they don't own the tracks though. They don't own the tracks. So if they don't want to race,
that should be an agreement between the track people and the NASCAR people. NASCAR should NASCAR has the say to say all the tracks we go to, we don't want this flown here. We don't want this shown here.
Talladega, Daytona, New Hampshire, they have the right to say we don't want NASCAR driving here anymore.
Yeah, they do.
So what happens when all the race
they can respond?
But what happens when all the racetracks in America say, you know what, NASCAR? Go fuck yourself.
That's not going to happen.
Some of them actually are protesting it.
Well, then that's their right. They can do that.
And I don't believe that banning the flag though is what they should do.
I think it's reasonable.
Okay, so let's talk about locally then. I know a lot of local people that have Confederate flags flown on their trucks. That doesn't mean they're racist.
I don't think it's fair to just blatantly call someone racist for that. They could be ignorant. That's truly ignorant? What it is. Yeah. It's not necessarily a good symbol to have.
So if I put a Confederate flag on my Tahoe, does that mean I'm ignorant?
If you're not you're either racist or ignorant, or you're supporting history. And you're not a historian, and I don't think you're racist, so that means you're probably ignorant.
Because what the hell? Okay, so a couple years ago, let me just tell you the story because I recently saw the article. A couple years ago, there was this guy who was protesting the Obama administration, and he put a Nazi flag on his house. He's not a Nazi, right? He's not a Nazi. He's not a racist, but he did it to protest the government, right? He made national coverage for this story. Now, if we're going to talk about flags, why don't we talk about that? Would you consider him racist?
no worse flag than the Nazi flag.
So, he said he's just protesting the Obama administration. but he's not a racist. So, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but
Sure.
I mean, if you put something like that up, you're basically telling everybody you're a racist. Why else would you put it up?
But he made the news cover it because he had an American flag flown next to a Nazi flag, a swastika. It's just, that's someone's way of saying, protesting the government. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how it's going to do anything. I know it pisses people off, but
people have the right to do that.
It's just inflammatory.
People have hey, Ozzy, you just said it yourself. People have a right to fly any flag they want.
Yeah, they have that right.
Yeah.
So you can. I didn't say you shouldn't be able to do it. I just said
you probably shouldn't.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I'm going to buy a Confederate flag because I would rather have an American flag on the Tahoe. But I'm just saying that we cannot tell people what they can and can't fly for flags, no matter what history.
On their own property, though.
Okay, so then the racetrack should have a right to fly the flags on their own property.
If they want to.
Yeah, but they aren't gonna. What are you talking about?
Why shouldn't they,
This isn't even a big deal, Gage. This isn't even a big deal.
It pisses me off because this is a free country.
But it's not a free racetrack.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, why don't we move on?
If you want freedom, go live in free CHAZ. That's free.
Hey, I'm Gage from the Midday Mumbles Podcast. I strongly believe if you want to start a podcast today for free, you need Anchor.fm. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. And the best part is, it's completely free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer anytime. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you, so it can be heard across all the major platforms: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more epic platforms available for free. Download the free Anchor app or go to Anchor.fm to get started today for free. Again, that's Anchor.fm. One more time, that's ANCHOR.fm. I can't wait to see what you create. Anyway, we're back now, and Isaac wants to talk about a cartoon named Paw Patrol. So here you are. Oh yeah,
Isaac. I just want to casually talk about, because I'm the biggest fan of Paw Patrol. I watch it every day. No, well, this is also regarding the protests and the riots and whatnot. The newest call out is partially a joke, but I mean, I think it's also partially serious, that they want to ban Paw Patrol. They want to get Paw Patrol removed, which, if you don't know what Paw Patrol is, it's a children's TV show for like little kids.
That joke is only the end of a chain, right?
Right.
The beginning of the chain is they cancel cops, right? Second part, they cancel live PD. End of the chain is let's cancel Paw Patrol now.
A kid's show. Let's cancel it.
Euthanize Paw Patrol. It's terrible. Like, that's literally what they're posting. They're posting that in like comments and stuff. Like, euthanize Paw Patrol. They want the dog euthanized on the TV show.
They are scraping the bottom of the barrel. They know there's nothing more.
Well, I don't think it's real. It's obviously that's
joke. That has to be a joke. I don't think there's literally anyone out there that genuinely think. I can't believe that there's anyone out there that legitimately thinks Paw Patrol is a evil show for putting police in it. It's just
no way.
But let's talk about live PD, and let's talk about cops getting taken down.
Those are huge shows.
Right. Those are massive shows. In the article I was reading from the New York Times that was talking about this Paw Patrol thing, it said that those police drama shows, share 60% of drama TV coverage.
NCIS, CSI, all of those shows. They're the most popular shows on TV.
And you know what that tells me? That it's 60% of drama TV. That means the majority of people want these shows. That means it's a minority of people. That means it's less people than the majority that want these shows removed, and yet they're all getting removed.
So NCIS, for instance, has been going for over 20 years now. They have the same story every week, just different characters. And literally, if people didn't care for the show would have ended 10 years ago. But if the show went off air, people would be pissed because there is a huge fan base for these cop drama shows.
I don't get the problem anyways. Like, all of live PD and all of cops is cops on video, and they're willing to be on video. They're good cops.
Right.
Because they're okay with being completely recorded in every sense.
Right. How much more accountability can you get for a police officer than being live
completely recorded at
television.
Every second. It's crazy. It's crazy. Like this, like cops and live PD should be, if it's real, you just said the whole drama TV thing, if these cop shows are real, then they should be, they should be the foil against this, oh, cops are racist, cops are bad, all cops are racist thing, Because these are cops being completely recorded. It's like, why haven't cops or live PD been called out for racism before? Because it's all recorded and you can see how the police are acting,
I bet I know what this is about. This is about because it shows people that what they're saying is unreasonable. It shows people the reality of the situation, and they don't like that. That goes against what their agenda is, so they're calling for them to all be canceled so that people cannot understand. Yeah. Because that's how a lot of evil governments come into play. They work off of people's lack of understanding of things.
Right. You want to tell people how to think, start mystifying stuff. Mystify the police so that you don't understand how the police operate or work.
It's sick.
It is pretty weird. It's weird.
Yeah, we're just scraping the bottom of the barrel. I mean, this shit isn't even relevant. How is euthanizing Paw Patrol going to friggin' solve racism? It's not. It's just a waste of time. It's a way for these people to think they're making a difference, because they're not. They're disgusting. They're scum. The people that are protesting this and the people that are acting the way they are, they're just scum. And I'm not, I don't really care what people think about anything. Paw Patrol, I mean, why are we screwing around with fictional entertainment? And then let's live PD. It's a huge show. It's advertised all over the place. And like you had said, they're good cops, just they're letting people, well, if they're good cops, right, and they're not racist, why are these, or though they're supposedly racist, why are they allowing a camera on them 24/7? Right. I mean, if I was like a racist and I didn't want people to see it, I'm certainly not going to say, yeah, live stream me, whatever, whenever I'm on duty, live stream me. I wouldn't say that, because especially, I don't think many racists want people to know they're racist. I don't know. It doesn't matter. But yeah, this is pretty pathetic. We need to move on. I mean, this is just this is just making us all look like idiots. The human race, we're all friggin' morons, because
these people that want to get rid of the police, they need to come up with something. Yeah. What do they actually want? What do they want the police to do?
How do we fix this?
What are you going to come up with?
What needs to happen to fix this? And then they'll come up with nothing, so they'll just keep yelling and screaming in the streets instead of actually coming up with...
Our system works the way it was intended to.
Yeah.
Like the solution that they propose, that's either defund or totally get rid of the police, it's just unrealistic.
So what? We want to defund and make all these police officers not make any money?
Let's play out an imaginary scenario that the police do get defunded. There's like the police departments, they're so defunded. They can do hardly nothing because they can barely buy new cop cars because they don't have any money and they cannot enforce the law reasonably. What's going to happen? The crime rates are going to skyrocket.
I'm surprised firefighters haven't been considered racist yet. Yeah. Oh, this black guy's house is burning down, but they went to the white guy's house first. Like, what in the fuck? We are literally idiots right now. Like, we're being morons. Why are we wasting our time on this stupid shit when we could be focusing on making America a better place, on making America, I hate to say it, but great again? But more or less, we're more focused on wasting our time talking about defunding the police department and fucking canceling Paw Patrol, a fucking children's show. What the hell is going on? We're idiots.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's fair to just like call everyone that's saying these things bad people, because a lot of them are just wrapped up in it. A lot of them just are reacting to what they're spoon fed by the news. But that's the thing. But
you can't give them the benefit of the doubt, because every human has the ability to do research and make their own opinion. And if they're going to be NPCs that literally just listen to anything and everything that's said to them and believe everything and anything that's said to them, then that's their own damn fault.
Right, but it's also not fair to call them bad people for it. Inherently bad people. Because a lot of them aren't. A lot of them just don't understand. A lot of them just won't put in the effort to really do much about it. And that's a lot of the problem with like a voting system like ours. I don't think our voting system is bad. I think it's a great way of doing it, but a lot of people are misinformed.
I think our voting system is bad. I believe in the way it's set up right now, but I believe that our party systems, we shouldn't have party systems. I believe
people should almost be forced to look into these situations to vote for people, you know?
I feel like if John Smith wants to run for president, then John Smith ought to be running as John Smith, as John Smith Republican or John Smith Democrat.
Right.
I think people should do research on these on their individual.
Right.
You know, if you have an issue that you're passionate about, you know, whether it be let's use abortion or border control as an example. Let's use immigration. You know, if you're really passionate about immigration, then why don't you find the candidate that most lines up with your with your views? Don't just be like, oh, this guy, Sally Smith, is running for Democrat. I'm going to vote for her because, it's a Democrat, right? It doesn't make any sense. It's stupid. Our party systems are getting too strong to the point where a majority of American citizens vote just on. Yeah. Well, a majority of American citizens vote now, whether, there's an R or a D next to their name. And that's not appropriate. That shouldn't be like that. It should be, I'm voting for Donald Trump because he's a great guy who's going to change America, record low unemployment since 1969, et cetera, et cetera. There are more people working now than on food stamps. There's more good to his name than there are, but because he's a Republican.
Right now under Trump, it's like record low.
But because he's a Republican.
Record low unemployment.
Right. How it really, and I said earlier that, or like right before we went into this, that we should almost force people to have to look into it. I don't mean literally force them to. I just mean we shouldn't give them any sort of indication of what they believe. Yeah, we shouldn't
make it easy for them.
It should be hard
we should
to
make
understand.
It difficult.
You should have to actually sit there and watch the shows to understand what these people are voting for. You should go to the voting booth and it should just be a list of names. It shouldn't be a little blurb telling them what they are. It shouldn't be a symbol saying what they represent. It shouldn't be a letter showing what they represent. It should be just names. And you should already know who those names are, and then you shouldn't be voting.
Someone made the argument then, well, who's going to fund these candidates? Well, maybe the government should set up some sort of fund.
Well, maybe
because it is hard to find funding if you're a new candidate. So there is always that.
Yeah, that's
that
probably
argument.
The worst thing about it. We'd probably have better candidates that actually represent how American people think if it didn't cost so much to run for anything.
Mm-hmm. Michael Bloomberg spent $500 million in his campaign, just so everyone knew who he was. It's like, that's stupid. That's just a waste of money.
Maybe what we should do is we should have state-funded and government-funded like centers.
Candidates.
Where these let's I'm just pulling stuff off the top of my head, just throwing ideas. What if every town had a meeting center where people could go and they could say, I am looking to run up the line for presidency. And maybe a couple people in that town are going to do that, and that town will vote for which candidate. And then that town person goes to the county.
The county votes,
the county does the same thing.
Votes.
Yeah.
So that's actually a really good idea.
But then they have to go up the line.
They do something like that at Boise State. It's like you go to Boise State, and if you become governor at Boise State, they put your name in a pool to actually go to the U.S. Capitol and then do the government sort of larger sort of boys and girls state thing. But like you said, it starts to do the biggest thing. It starts every time at the smallest level, no matter what it is.
But if democracy is going to work, then your town should be, okay, you know what? This guy has some good ideas. We're going to vote him or girl. And then the county does that. And then the state votes. And, then you're in line for going on a ballot because your state voted you up there. And maybe like all 50 states could have some sort of candidate. And then that's when you start wading through, the bushes, the weeds. You start eliminating candidates throughout the year until you're left with two to then the American people can vote on. And that might be inefficient for like smaller roles, like the state should just vote for, their state as it is. But we need a better way of our voting system, because right now you shouldn't be a bad person because you're a Republican. I have a lot of different views, and some of my views, I'm not ashamed of it, but like, I don't like bringing it up. I do have some views that are on the Democrat side, but a majority of them are on the Republican side. Not many of them are Democrat, because they are, in my opinion, a lot of the Democrats are just foolish. But
right, and there's a golden example of the problem with parties, because you just said Democratic people are foolish. People that are for the Democratic Party. But trust me, there are plenty of Democrats out there that are perfectly reasonable people.
Exactly. I've met a lot of them, and there are a lot of Republicans that are perfectly reasonable.
I'm sure you haven't met a lot of them.
What?
Nothing. It's just a word joke. Right. You said you've met a lot of them as if you've...
I've talked to a lot of Democrats.
When I met with Governor so
oh, the American people, I've met all of them.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just saying that we're worrying about petty shit. We should really, if we're going to complain about democracy, then we need something that's going to replace not democracy. I believe in democracy wholeheartedly. Right. But if a majority of American people said we need to replace it, then that's how democracy works.
Well, I mean, I would say we probably more fundamentally agree with a republic than we do with democracy, because democracy is having representatives that represent you, and that it can be a little bit corruptible. And in modern times, when we have all this technology, a republic is somewhat feasible. You can totally do a republic. A republic wasn't feasible in the past because there's no reasonable way to count all those votes in every level. It just would be impossible. But with all of our modern technology, we can count every person's vote.
We could set out,
even though they still have problems with that.
Sure. We could send out votes to every smartphone in America. You know what I mean? Like, that's you in the future. You shouldn't. I mean, eventually there'll be a way that you don't even have to leave your friggin' house. You can just vote online.
Well, no. I think anything that's voter related should be completely disconnected from the internet.
Well, right now, yes, I agree with that. There is a lot of tampering. There can be. Well, if we can figure out a way to make it 100% secure.
I think that for the rest of time, all of your votes should be a ballot in a box. And that box is like
But protected. That's why a lot of people don't vote, because they're too lazy to go out and actually,
then they probably
vote.
Shouldn't have an opinion if they're that lazy.
Exactly. But then that's what breaks the system, because you have a lot of Republicans there are a lot of Republicans right now that don't bother voting because it's a waste of time, or they don't have time to do it in their daily lives. It's the same with that's why Democrats are overly
right. But you're saying that from a perspective that is you like the Republican Party. But let's face it, if you're just saying it from a general standpoint, if these people don't care enough to go out and vote for what they supposedly believe, then why should they vote if they're not passionate about it? Why should they have a say if they don't care what happens?
Because I think every American citizen should have a say in something, because I bet you the results would turn out very vastly differently.
Right, but if someone genuinely doesn't care how it turns out, should they be voting? Wouldn't that skew what people really want? If people that don't want things just check a random box and throw it in the box?
If we did away with party systems, I think it would work a lot better that way, because I don't know. People just need to work. People need to realize, okay, I want to know what's going on. People need to make an effort. Because if you don't make an effort, then you're not going to know what the hell's going on.
I think one way we could really improve on that is in our education system. I think we shouldn't be so anti-talk about your political opinions in our school systems like we are right now.
But our teachers can't be biased either.
Right, sure. But I think teachers should be able to talk about what they believe, at least in like high school, not in middle school. They shouldn't be drowning little kids with politics. But in high school, I don't see a reason why a teacher shouldn't be able to tell the student their opinion in a respectful,
but they should have to put all the facts that are on the table if you're going to talk about politics.
I would actually say that it wouldn't work. That wouldn't be good in high school, because people are still so open to suggestion when they're in high school too.
But like, I don't see why we should have...
People even in adulthood are so open to suggestion. Like, look at the protesters.
Sure. But like, I think
a majority of teachers. I think a majority of teachers are already sharing their opinions in the classrooms.
Right.
So it's not really going to matter. And
okay,
the only thing
we should be open to sharing of ideas with one another, because that's how good ideas are born, from sharing your ideas. And people thinking about those ideas. And if we teach doing that in school, I think we could have a much, much more functional society.
Right. I mean, if it was applied to schools in a good way, it would work. Like, I think what destroys it in schools now is people are so obsessed with the left-right that it's like, oh, you have a teacher that you look up to and they're on the left. Oh, you're just going to be on the left because it's like, oh, that's a good idea because I like that person.
Mm-hmm. Right.
That's how it works.
There were a lot of teachers that I liked that were completely liberal. And it's like, I like you as a person, but I don't agree with 90% of what you say.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think a lot of Democrats are, especially younger liberals, are just, they're pushed off on a weird path at a young age. And it's very, I don't know, it's going to be hard to fix that, but we need to figure out a way. Because at the rate we're going, our country isn't going to be a country, literally. It's just going to be a bunch of, like, as it is, it's hard to get anything done.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you want to pass it to the Senate or Congress, the Senate or the House is going to be like, you know, one party's going to vote against it. The other party's going to, you know what I mean? Very rarely do we come together and we're like, okay, yeah, this is a good idea. You know, and it sucks that it's like that. Because in our country, it's so hard to get anything done. Anything passed. It's like they want one party wants everything, but they're not willing to give anything. It's called compromise. And I think if we're going to keep the party system, politicians need to learn that word.
Yeah.
Right. So they need to learn that compromise is a thing and it works both ways.
Well, yeah. It seems like as you watch all political things on television and everything, when you hear about the way things get voted on, it doesn't seem like these people in the Senate, these people in the House of Representatives are debating with each other and deciding on the right answer. It seems like they look at the bill, they see if it has a D or an R, and then they vote accordingly.
Or they say,
it seems like
how is this going to benefit me and my voters?
Mm-hmm.
And if they can't get everything they want, they deny it, they veto it. If you know, that's how it goes with every party. Every vote, it's like, oh, if the Republicans are getting everything they want, then they vote yes. If they get nothing or they don't get everything they want, they vote no. And the same with Democrats. There are very few people, and I'm going to say this about Republicans too. We need new people in these seats. We need term limits in Congress. And that's the only way any real change is going to happen, is if we have fresh faces every few years. That's what the founding fathers intended upon. They wanted a country okay, so you have these people in Congress that are in power for 40, 50, 60 years. That's not how the founding fathers believed it.
The founding fathers actually wanted a system where the rules represent the time. You do change things over the years, but over the years we haven't really changed things.
No. And I believe there's a lot of room for change, but we can't just listen to riot. We can't say, oh, these people are rioting. It's almost like if you can yell louder, your vote, your ideology is the most important.
Right. I wouldn't say right now is the time for change anyways, because I wouldn't say everybody who has power right now is completely sound of mind,
Right, no.
And that's why I'm totally for Trump, because I'm like, when he was talking about draining the swamp, we need that desperately. We need new people in politics. We need young faces in politics, but we also need old people. We need to share ideas. We need to learn from our mistakes. You have older people that have lived for ages, right? And they've witnessed low times in our politics and high times in our politics. And we need to take those ideas and we need to pick the best parts of it and kind of combine a new kind of system. And that's how it needs to go. We can't just have these young people that haven't lived through anything and say, oh, I don't have any experience with life, but I want this to happen.
Yeah.
And then you got these older people.
That's how you really make a situation where history is bound to repeat itself. You don't No, you just get people that are so ignorant to anything.
But when you have older people that witness like World War II, the Great Depression, our low times in our history, it's like that is when you share those ideas with young people. You open their eyes. I agree we need young people in office, but we also need people that are wise. We need people that know what the hell, we need people that can look at history and say, okay, that has a correlation or that we don't want to repeat that or whatever, because that is the only way it's going to work.
Well, I think we just need people that actually want to speak about things. Mm-hmm. Like, I think so much of politics now is just talking, but there's not really substance to it.
Well, it's talking to sway the people to vote for you. Really, is what it is. It's not talking because that's what they care about. It's not talking because that's really anything of matter or substance to them. It's talking to get people that they want to vote for them, and then they do whatever the heck they want when they're in office.
Mm-hmm. Right. No, that's what it is. Once they're in office, they don't care anymore. They've made it. Yeah. They have the special interests money. They have everything. They're done. They're in there. And as long as they stay in the best interest of their party, the Democrats, let's say the Democrats or the Republicans, they're going to constantly get supported by these parties, and they're going to be pushed and pushed and pushed on the ballots. That's always how it goes, because these political parties have billions of special interest dollars. They got billions of funding, billions of dollars in funding, and they're unstoppable. They're unstoppable forces.
Yep. It's sad.
But that's where corruption starts anyway. But we've been going for about an hour now. So I think we should end it here. What do you guys think?
I think this is a good stopping point.
We were getting a little hot-headed at some parts, but
make sure.
Yeah. So
make sure to tune in for future weeks. For
Jesus Christ, Isaac, can I do my sponsor bit?
Look, it's not important, Gage. It's
now a word from our sponsor. Hey. I'm Gage from the Midday Mumbles Podcast. I strongly believe if you want to start a podcast today for free, you need Anchor.fm. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. And the best part is, it's completely free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer anytime. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you, so it can be heard across all the major platforms: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more epic platforms available for free. Download the free Anchor app or go to Anchor.fm to get started today for free. Again, that's Anchor.fm. One more time, that's ANCHOR.fm. I can't wait to see what you create. And we're back to end out this episode of the Midday Mumbles Podcast. We hope you enjoyed. If you did, don't forget to share it with your friends. Share it around. Send us an email at talkmumbles@gmail.com. Visit us online at middaymumbles.com. And
tell us what to talk about on our email, talkmumbles@gmail.com.
Exactly. So it's been nice to talk to you guys. It's been nice to have you guys listen to us. Mm-hmm. But that's it for today. So I've been Gage.
I'm Isaac.
And I'm Brody.
And we're signing off.
See you later.
Thank you for listening.